Welcome to the Love School USA, where you learn that love is a matter of the brain much more than of the heart. And Cristiane, we already start with a mega news, a big news, celebrity news, because Pamela Anderson was married in her latest marriage for 12 days.
12 days. Why? Why do people do this? Why do people treat marriage sometimes like a friendship in school? Like, I don't want to be a friend anymore.
Don't last very long.
We're going to talk about this. Stay tuned.
"12 days after saying I do, Pamela Anderson calls it quits." Baywatch actress exchanged vows with producer John Peters on January 20th, 2020 in Malibu. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the marriage seemed like it could go the distance. Although each had been married 4 times prior, the union seemed promising, given that Anderson and Peters had dated one another more than 30 years ago and had reunited in recent months, keeping the relationship under wraps. However, MSN.com reported, then came a confusing game of he said, she said. Pamela reportedly realized she'd made a mistake just a day and a half into the union, which ultimately was not legally binding, as they didn't file their marriage certificate following their January 20th nuptials, and called things off with John, whom she found to be too controlling, a source told Page 6. Then, on February 10th, Page 6 reported that the A Star is Born producer told the outlet he'd ended it via text. Peters also reported, needless to say, that when she texted me that she wanted to get married, it was kind of a dream come true, even though I was engaged to someone else and the lady was moving in. He explained, I dropped everything for Pam. She had almost $200,000 in bills and no way to pay it, so I paid it, and this is the thanks I get. However, Peters' allegations didn't sit well with Pamela. According to Wonderwall.com, Pam reported, I don't need anyone to pay my bills. Pam told the Victoria News. She then goes on to explain about her prosperous financial situation. Pam further told the newspaper that after their brief marriage, John wrote her a check for $100,000 and said, no hard feelings. Although at the end of the day, both made their peace with the situation and said good things about the other. Still, the question that itches to be asked in the ongoing phenomenon of fast celebrity and civilian marriages is why? Why do people only realize they made a mistake after they tie the knot?
Why do people only realize they've made a mistake after they tie the knot? In this case, Pamela Anderson and John Peters' 5th marriage. Both of them have 4 marriages behind them.
And that just comes to prove that it doesn't matter how many relationships you are in, you've been through, you don't learn. Mm-hmm. You don't learn. You can be married for many, many times, and if you don't stop and realize what you're doing wrong, you're going to still go on for the next number in relationship. And that's what's happening a lot these days. People these days are being married for 3 times, 4 times, and they keep blaming the other person. And I'm sure these two blame each other for the marriage not working out, or even blaming the marriage. Like, I don't believe in love anymore, I don't believe in marriage, this doesn't work. No, this works, marriage works. The thing is that you need to learn before getting married.
You have to work at it.
You have to learn the intelligent love.
Exactly. And in their case, for example, let's look at how this happened. First of all, what called my attention there was that they dated 30 years prior. So there's this sensation that you have found again that love from the past, that flame that you had once in the past, and now you're going to be able to relive or live what you hoped you had lived before. And that's just not usually what happens, because people change. They have this false idea that, I always loved this person, always felt something for this person. and then they're going to be exactly the same as
30 years later.
30 years
Come
later.
on.
And it's not, right? That's the first mistake. And also the second mistake, they rushed into it. They rushed into it. They texted each other. They said, let's get married. And without much consideration, without much thought, it seems, they just decided to get married. And everything you do without much planning is bound to go wrong and for you to regret later.
Yeah, this idea of being impulsive in your love life. A lot of people are doing that these days. They meet each other and they just go and, let's move in together. Let's move in together because let's rush this because, we have to take advantage of the time we are in love, as if love is going to run away from them. So they rush into relationships like that. And this intensity, this impulsiveness is making people make mistakes. Why do people realize they make a mistake only after they tie the knot? Because they didn't think. You have to think, you have to ponder, you have to find out, is this person ready for me? Am I ready for this person? Am I ready to be faithful to this person for the rest of my life?
Who is this person?
Where is she coming from?
Exactly.
What
is he or she bringing into the relationship? What is the family like? What are the goals? Are our goals compatible with one another? What's the personality like? What is the money situation? One of the big problems they had was that it seems that he says that he paid her some of her bills. He paid some of her bills for her, and she says no. And it seems money has been an issue there. So people rush into a marriage without using their head to evaluate, to find out what they're really getting into. And then once they are married, they start discovering things that they didn't know before. So that's a huge mistake. That's why I said in the beginning, love is a matter of the mind, of the brain, much more than of the heart. The heart just feels. And it doesn't mean that because you feel something for somebody, that it's gonna go well in a relationship with you. You need to use your brain before you go and marry somebody. Another point there, Cristiane, is that the age difference. He's 74, she's 52, and I know romantics don't like to make a big deal out of age difference, but the truth is that it affects the relationship. It's two different generations there. 22 years, 74, she's 52, they are on different levels.
Yeah, and I'd like to even speak a little bit to the romantics, okay, if I can. You're bound to suffer a lot, okay, in the love life, because romance sells this lie that if all you have is love, then everything is going to work out. You're going to overcome your differences. You're going to stay together no matter what happens, no matter if everybody's against you. That Romeo and Juliet type of romance. People think that is like true love. And that is not true love. True love thinks, true love ponders, true love, you who are married, you know what true love is. The times that you have to pretend you didn't see, when your husband leaves whatever on the floor.
Look the other way.
And you look the other way. That's love. That's love. That's not romantic, but that's love because you don't want to make a big fuss about that. But romantics usually romanticize differences. That on the day-to-day life, they really make it hard to live in love.
Yes, when there are some differences, of course everybody's different. You'll always find couples are attracted to each other's differences, but some differences are just incompatible. Right? Goals or the lifestyle, sometimes it seems that a little bit of that played out in Pamela's and John Peter's marriage, that he didn't agree with some of her lifestyle, etc. So you need to be aware of what can be worked out and what just becomes a problem in the relationship. You see, 12 days, I was thinking, we were struggling with each other for 12 years, but we were still there. We were still there trying. Chris and I have been married for 28 years now, and at the 12th year of our marriage, she said to me, I don't want this anymore. I want a divorce. And you will know more about this in our book, The Bulletproof Marriage. You're going to know more about this right now. And we'll go on next to the Love Toolbox. We're going to tell you about a tool you can use in your marriage. But first of all, find out how you can find more about our story and tools for you to use in your own relationship. Okay, now we are going to give you a tool. We're going to go to our toolbox, open our Love Toolbox, and if I can only get this right, okay. And what is the toolbox, Cristiane? Let's explain to people what a toolbox in a relationship means.
Well, you know, a toolbox is when you have it in your house. You have all the tools, you know, that you need to fix stuff in the house. So every house should have a toolbox because you have problems, you know, sink problems, shower problems.
Emergencies.
You know, emergencies.
Right?
So what we have here is a toolbox with tools for relationships.
Yeah. Using the right tool for the right job is the secret for you to get the job done. So we have lots of tools here. We're going to pick one and show you. Let's see which one we're going to talk about. All right. So here it is. When your partner asks you to do something, do it first.
And
Let's talk about this tool.
That's a tool that it makes a lot of difference, and it looks simple. It looks very like, oh, that's not going to make any difference in my life, but it does, because it expresses something deeper about how you feel, what you think of this person. So what happens many times is your husband or your wife asks you something, and you go, oh, you know, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll deal with it later. But then your mother or your father or your boss calls you and he says, I need you right now, come here, or whatever. You drop everything and you do whatever it is for that person. What you're really saying to your spouse is that that person is more important because you are, you know, you're dropping everything to help that person, while your spouse, you don't do that. You kind of
Yes.
take her for granted.
What happens is that many times we make the mistake of letting our spouse feel less important than other people in our lives. And this can be played out by a simple situation such as, honey, I'm out of razors. When you're out, can you please get me some? And then she goes out and she forgets. Or she says, well, I'm not going out anytime soon, so you're going to have to wait. And for a little problem like that, he feels that he is not as important to her as, for instance, the mother or the sister, etc., whom she drops everything to go and do something when they ask. So it's important for you to reinforce to your spouse, not just by thought, because you think it, but by action. You reinforce to your spouse that he or she comes first in your life. So when he or she asks you something as a favor, do it first. At the first opportunity. You can't always drop what you're doing and do it. If you can, it's wonderful. If it's quick and easy, do it so you don't forget. But at the first opportunity, you do it, because this way you make this person feel important in your life.
It shows how you feel important, that person is important for you, is a priority for you. And we do this, and we don't have this problem that many couples have that complain. You know, they complain about, you know, why you always do it for her or for him and you don't do it for me. Sometimes you complain, especially husbands, they complain a lot about this. You complain to, you know, your wife doesn't take care of you like she takes care of the children, or she doesn't give you much attention like she does to her boss, you know. But why the wife feels grudgy? She feels like, you know, you're complaining like a child. Why do you have to be like a child? This is, you know, this is my work. This is the children. You have to, you know, put yourself in your place. You know, you are an adult. You know, why are you making a big deal out of this? But the thing is that he feels inferior then the child, then the boss.
He feels
That's why he complains. It's not childish
He
at
feels
all.
he doesn't mean anything to you. He means less to you than other people you give more attention to. All right, so here's a very important tool for your relationship toolbox. When your partner asks you for something, do it first. It will bring, it's a simple, don't despise this simple tool. It will bring a lot of peace, a lot of good feelings, good environment to your marriage, to your house, to your relationship.
And we will add this tool to our Instagram. You can follow us at the Love School USA.
Well, let's go now to our Love Lab. Look at the couple that we're going to counsel today, Juan Carlos and Arlette. They're in their 50s, been married for 23 years. Let's see what's going on between them, see what we can do to help.
We have a lot of problems, and the girls around you, and you say hello to everybody, and you are so cute with everybody. And sometimes I think I am jealous. I don't know
But you
why.
have to understand that maybe you think I'm flirting with someone or with a specific woman, but it's just the way I always been. That I know, I probably understand that you get jealous, because I would too, if that was the situation. So, but I think the way I act with people, and not only women, but also men, I try to be friendly. I like to have friends. I like to communicate. I like to laugh.
I know. But in the past 2 times, you didn't be just nice or cute or friendly.
So what are you
You
saying?
know.
What are you saying?
You know.
No, I don't know. You tell
No,
me.
you
No,
know,
you tell
what
me.
about-
No, I don't know.
Yes,
You tell me.
the girl, 1 or 2 girls.
Let's just stop here before she says what she meant by 2 girls. Okay, what Juan is doing here, Cristiane, is he's pulling out the card of the just the way I am.
This is the way
card.
I am.
This is the way I am, right? I used to use this card. I used to play this card in our marriage for 12 years. When she complained something about me, I would just say, that's the way I am. I don't know why you're complaining. You've met me this way. I was always this way. You're trying to change me. There's only one problem with this card, Juan, is that if the way you are is bad for your marriage, if the way you are hurts your wife, then you've better find a better way. You should try, even though I'm not saying you can change your personality, but you can change some behaviors about your personality that can pass on to your wife a little bit more confidence, that she needs to feel secure, that this way that you are friendly with other women will not turn into an act of infidelity, of unfaithfulness. So you cannot change your personality, but you can change some behaviors that are the result of your personality. You can curb, you can set some limits as to what you do. And this is very important because we do this. Juan, you are in your 50s, you have a lot of experience in life, at work, you know this for sure. When you go to work for a company and that company says, here we do things this way, not the way that you're doing it, you try to adapt to the way that company works and requires you to work because they hired you and they are paying you for you to work their way. So even though you may have learned a different way, you try to do the way of that company to keep the job. And the same thing when you're in your marriage, sometimes our way hurts our partner. And we need to change our way, adapt, adjust our way a little bit, at least, in order to prevent the problems in the marriage.
Especially if your way has something to do with a mistake that you made. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what we're gonna hear now about the past. Let's see.
1 or 2 girls, the infidelity.
The things where when that happened, in the long period of time, 26 years of
Yeah,
being
I
together,
know.
those 2 times we got into a big arguments.
Or
We
more.
almost got divorced
Yeah.
more than once.
We were separated 2 times.
Yeah.
I remember.
I remember.
Can
So,
you
but-
explain why?
Yeah, because of that, of the problem with a woman. I understand that, and I think I pay for my mistake or my mistakes.
Oh, you paid.
It was really hard, but
You
at
almost
the
lost your
end,
family.
I realized that I love you. That's why I apologize to you,
Oh, thank you.
and that's why I keep my life with you until you have me. But the thing is, no marriage, I don't know one marriage that hasn't lasted this long with no problem at all.
Yeah, but I fight a lot for my marriage because I have a divorce
And,
and I don't want another
Okay, I
divorce.
understand that you were, and that's all right. I understand that the first marriage didn't work. Okay, but also the thing that I don't like is that you're always like a spy. You're always like, this and who's that and that, and you going into my phone.
Oh, because you
number,
were making me crazy. You know what I
and all
mean?
that. So you know how uncomfortable it is when you are like over the shoulder looking at me. Who's that? Who's that? Who called you? Who's that? Oh, is that your friend? Is that this? Is that? Come on, you get to a point.
I
you
have
get
a
to
question.
let me finish.
Okay.
You get to,
No, we are not going to let you finish right now because we need to speak about this what you just said there, Juan. The problem with betrayal is that you have to, the payment is lack of trust. If you don't know how to rebuild the trust, you're always going to suffer with the lack of trust that you now included in the relationship because you betrayed her. So this happened many years ago, 11 years ago, but somehow you didn't build trust in this relationship. So Arlette still thinks that you're going to betray her. That's why she looks like a spy sometimes. That's why she's always asking, what you're doing there, who are you talking to and stuff, because she doesn't trust you. So I know this is very irritating to be at the other end of this, but the problem is that you cannot throw this at her like, you need to trust me. You can't expect the other person who's been betrayed to trust if you did not build the trust between you.
Especially when you defend some of your behaviors by saying that's the way I am and I'm not going to change. So she feels that the same behaviors that led to the cheating before are still there. So it's hard to trust when you are so hardened in your heart and refusing to change, to acknowledge that you can and you need to make some changes to your behavior. So, but I also think, Cristiane, that Arlette is holding a grudge. She hasn't really gotten over what happened back then, and she's still hurting and holding a grudge against Juan, and that's a big part of the problem. Let's watch.
finish.
Okay.
It gets to a point that I get irritated. You know what irritated, right?
Yeah, I know.
And that's why I probably act mad at you.
A lot of not.
A lot, because but this is the thing you have to understand.
Yeah, sure.
The way you acted with me when I made my mistakes, I took it. And as they say, I took it like a man. I pay my dues, I pay whatever I did was for you and for us and for the family.
And
Understand?
other thing,
Now, the last time that happened over 11 years ago, 11
know.
years ago, and there's no one single
oh, you know
day.
exactly the time.
There's
Oh,
no
I
one
can't believe
single
it.
day that you don't remind me of that. Do you think how uncomfortable that makes me feel?
I suppose.
Do you understand? When you say you forgive, you have to forgive from the heart. You have my code for my phone. You have my Facebook is open. My Instagram, my everything, my email. You even
Mine too.
So I
All
don't
the
have nothing
time.
to hide.
Well, Okay, so as we said, Arlette still hasn't quite forgiven. She talks about what happened 11 years ago as if it happened yesterday, right? And I think she's still making him pay. I don't know exactly what he means when he says, I've paid my dues, but Arlette is still making Juan pay. Arlette, you're still making him pay. And the problem here is that he doesn't know when it's going to end. He doesn't know, when you have a debt to pay, what encourages you to pay it is that you know it's going to end. You know the balance. You know at one point you're going to be debt free. But here it seems that he's never going to be debt free, because he says he's changed a lot. It's not happened again in 11 years' time. You're still together. You chose to be together with him after the incidents, but you still hold it against him. So he's right when he says when a person forgives, it doesn't mean that he forgets or she forgets. You're never going to forget what happened. But it doesn't mean you have to remind yourself or remind him every single day. When you forgive a person, you make a conscious decision of looking forward, of rebuilding your life, rebuilding your marriage. And Arlette, this is crucial. This is really, really important for this marriage to work. You need to make a decision inside yourself. First of all, think about it this way. You decided to continue in this marriage. You said it yourself. You don't want to lose a second marriage. You decided to stay. If you decided to stay, you need to try and find a way to make it work. And it's not going to work while you're hurting and while you're reminding him constantly of the mistake he made and is not making anymore. It's impossible to live with someone like that.
The thing about it is, Renato, is that I think I understand why she does that, because a lot of people who get hurt in a marriage, like infidelity, they keep reminding their spouse, so they won't forget what they did, because
to try and prevent them from doing it again.
They think they're going to prevent. If she holds the grudge, she's going to prevent him from doing this again. So she thinks, I need to remind him every day, I need to pay, I need to make him pay so that he will stay faithful to me.
Yeah, but the medicine is worse than the disease.
I know, but this is how they make these arguments in their
but
heads.
it's a flawed reasoning.
She needs to realize that she's afraid of him betraying her again.
Yeah, but it's not by reminding him every day that you will prevent it from happening. On the opposite, you will just annoy him as you've been doing, and he may come to a point where he says, I can't take it anymore. So, Arlette, what you need to do is you need to make it very clear to him, which I think you've done, plenty of it. You need to make it very clear to Juan and say, look, there is not going to be a third time. Because if there is a third time, I'm out of this marriage. You just need to make that decision inside your mind, your heart. And Juan needs to know that. And you turn the page. And now you need to try and live the marriage that you now have, that for 11 years hasn't had that problem. So try and live in the present, for the present, and look into the future to build a different future. It's very important for you to do that. Forgiveness, Arlette, is a decision, is not a feeling. You decide, and every time you feel like going back and reminding yourself what happened, you decide back again to look forward. That's what forgiveness looks like. Okay? Let's conclude watching and give the final word.
You know what I hate?
What?
When you say you're on the phone all the time.
All the time?
And I say, hey, Arlette, hey, my love, hey, you pay attention, and you ignore.
But all the time?
All the time.
I'm working in the cell phone, really.
All the time.
Almost all the time. I need the cell phone.
Well, I don't know.
Like your partner. Exactly.
You
don't need to spend in some business or some things. You spend a lot of money, and I didn't say anything. Just today.
I understand that. And
Why?
We did. It was a bad economic because we did a bad investment. Actually, it wasn't a bad investment. Someone tricked us, robbed us. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we pay a lot, and this is what I admire of what happened at that time, because that's probably a very good test.
Test, yeah.
Because we stuck together. We didn't fight for money. We didn't fight for nothing. We just took it like a couple, a marriage couple. They say, okay, that's fine. We made a bad decision, but we both agree. And that's what I liked it. I said, okay, this is the kind of woman I want to be with the rest of my life.
Yes, when I spend the money, and I think it's
No,
my
no, no, no,
money
no,
because
let's-
I'm
no, no,
working.
no.
Yeah, very
I
hard.
don't get mad at spending money. I get mad because you're not organized on spending money. You receive $1,000 cash or check or credit. The first thing you're like, oh, where's the $1,000? Oh, I don't know.
No,
But it's gone. And
we
I
have
said,
a lot of
well,
spends.
no, but you have to learn how to, and this is very important too, that really gets me mad, that you don't organize your money. You don't organize your payment. You don't
Are
organize.
you organized?
I try to be. I try to be very
just
organized.
To try. But I think you
I'm
are
not saying I'm the
too.
best organizer for managing money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we had money, we didn't miss nothing. We made a bad investment that we agreed. Okay, we lost everything, but now we're getting back. I mean, don't you think I like to see you well dressed, beautiful, with long hair?
Whatever.
That's money.
Well, but I need to spend in
I'm
my
not complaining on
personal,
spending.
you know,
I'm just saying
my
how you
nails,
spend it.
mine.
How
But you
spend it.
ask me always.
I said, where is the $500 we're in the back? Oh, I don't know, it's gone. What do you mean it's gone?
Yeah, the
how,
money
how do you
is
spend it?
gone
Oh, I don't care,
anyway.
I don't know.
Okay, two things that Juan said there, Cristiane, that he said that he hates. One was about the phone, right? The cell phone, that she stays on the phone too much. And that's important because that sounds to me like he's missing her attention, right? If she has a grudge, if she's resenting him, if she irritates him sometimes, I feel that they are not being affectionate enough. There's no intimacy enough between them. And the phone is just an easy image that he brings to his mind to say, look, I'm missing intimacy between us.
Yeah, I wonder if she's doing this to punish him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when you're hurt and you have a grudge against somebody, especially your spouse, you normally want to punish that person and make that person feel somehow what you felt when he betrayed you. So when she doesn't give him attention, when she takes the money and she just uses the money for herself, like this is my money, I earned it, I do whatever I want, she's kind of saying to him, you know, you lost me and I'm gonna do whatever
I'll
I
punish you.
want
Yeah.
for the rest of my life, and you're gonna stay there slaving away love
You
for
won't
me.
have me.
Yeah.
You won't have me. I won't let you near me.
Yeah.
I won't let you have my time, my attention. And this is being mean, Arlette. You need to balance. You said you do a lot of work on your phone. We all do nowadays. But you need to balance it. When your husband needs your attention and you want to rebuild this relationship, you need to try and balance the time you have that you spend on your phone. That's one thing. The second thing he says he hates is that she's not very organized with her finances. And I point again to the problem that they are not, they haven't gotten over the problem of the 11 years ago. And that shows also through the finances because they still keep this idea, my money, your money, right? Because of the lack of trust that entered the relationship, you probably, if that wasn't that way already, it started certainly when faithfulness was broken, the trust was broken. And now you have your money, Arlette, and he has his money. And this shouldn't be so. 26 years of marriage, you should already know that you should have one account, one pocket. It works best that way, usually. It works best that way. And if he asks you to be more organized, you need to have a few rules about your finances. You need to have organization in your finances. What goes in, what comes in, what goes out, what you have to pay, who's going to pay what. You need to have some form of organization in your finances, which is pretty basic. But because you can't agree on almost anything, the problem of the money becomes a big issue.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd like to speak to Juan because I noticed that Juan didn't really allow Arlette to speak too much in the lab. I think she had more complaints, but he spoke more and he didn't allow her. I had this, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but he didn't allow her to speak very much. And maybe because he doesn't want to feel, he doesn't want to hear everything that he's heard for these, 11 years or so. But I think you have also a problem here, Juan. And your problem, you need to, it's not something that you can fix today. It's something that you have to start fixing, which is this insecurity that is established in your relationship. When you betrayed your wife, I know it was 11 years ago. I know you think, when am I going to be over? This was a mistake I made, I paid for it. Why do I have to talk about this? But when you made that mistake, you broke the trust in this marriage. And you said you paid for it, but maybe you paid for it being punished. Like, you know what, we're going to separate, we're going to live separate, you have to come back to the relationship little by little. Maybe you paid like that. But how you really build trust, and here's a tip for all of you out there who has betrayed your spouse, and you are in this situation, very delicate situation. It's like you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. You don't have to. You have to rebuild the trust. That's what you have to do. Rebuild, not being paying for it, but you have to rebuild the trust.
And how to rebuild that trust? To
rebuild the trust in the marriage, you have to be transparent. You have to compensate. Like, for example, before you betrayed your wife, you were this person who's very nice to women. You like to hug them. You like to exchange messages with them. But now you betrayed her with another woman. So you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to change towards every woman now.
Set a few new rules.
Because she needs to see that you're really changed. Mm-hmm. Because you can't change just by saying, oh, okay, I won't betray you anymore.
I won't do it anymore. You need to pass on that confidence that it won't happen again, and the steps you're taking to prevent it from happening again. Look, I'm not going to have anyone on my phone that you don't agree with anymore. I'm not going to spend time in a private space with someone of the opposite sex. I'm not going to give a woman a ride in my car if you're not with me, and things like that. You need to come up with some new rules that you will abide by, and she will see that you are taking care of your marriage and steps to prevent the mistake from happening again. That's how you rebuild trust, being transparent, having some new rules, and investing in the intimacy that it seems to be lacking very much between the two of you. Okay? So this is our advice to you, Juan and Arlette. We wish the best, and we hope that you come back on the show very soon to tell us the effect of following the advice.
Well, that's it for us today, but we'll be back next week, the same time here.
Leave your comments on our Instagram, The Love School USA. Till next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.